The performance-related health home incentives are introduced. I said earlier, while by no means easy, they seem to be an easier target than the ones we're going to have to develop. We know we want people to go to the hospital less. We know we want their health care at the hospital to be more efficient and not that they're there an extra day because nobody understood that somebody might pull a tube out of their arm if they were not communicated with in a certain way. So those are easier things than when Shelley's folks go out and really try to look and see, is Joe Smith having a good experience in adult development? Now the last slide, Jim, hey, wake up. I know I'm boring, but I figured you'd at least stay awake for Shelley's part. Version 2, this will be a fun, I'm sure we'll be able to knock this preschool discussion out in an hour or two. People have been on me for months wanting to talk about the preschool services for children with developmental disabilities and delays. Right now, those children might be served at a CHMS, it might be served at a DDTCS, it might be served through our early intervention program, either at home or at their daycare. And there are others. There's a lot of others. What we want to do, starting after the first of the year, is look at this issue. I don't want to say it's a problem. I think the places I go in are wonderful places. They take good care of those kids. Now, from a state government and a federal government perspective, we've got to make sure that we're getting the most bang for our buck with early childhood programs, and we've got to make sure that we're getting it to the people that need it, that we don't leave counties underserved, that we don't have kids who maybe could be best served in a ABC program or a Head Start or in a regular daycare. Those are all hard things to look at. And when we start talking about them over at DHS, up at 7th and Main, we get mired up in federal regulations and, prior authorization for this, retrospective review for that. Why aren't we doing it for this? How much therapy is enough? How much therapy is enough in a day? But what I'd like for us to focus on is the parent's perspective. And I made them find a picture of a little kid with his parents, because we're going to show that picture every time we talk about that, because that's who's important, that mom and dad who have realized their son or daughter is not where they need to be developmentally, who've been told by a physician or a therapist that their son or daughter is delayed. Some of y'all in this room have been through that. Many of y'all in this room are parents and have been through similar issues where or if you're like me, you're just constantly worried when you have a preschool child. Are they talking right? Are they doing right? When I'm going to get Claire at the daycare where she stays after school. I can't tell you how tense I get when I walk in there, and she is a wonderful child. Thankfully, took after her mother. But I get so tense thinking, is she going to be sitting at a table playing by herself, or is she going to be sitting there with a friend? Because I'm scared if I go in there and she's by herself, and it's 2 or 3 nights, I'm thinking she's inherited some of my problem. She's either running kids off or they don't like her. And I've got as good a 5-year-old as there is. She's personable, everybody loves her. But I worry about those things all the time. I can't imagine what it would be like to have to worry about, is she getting the right kind of therapy? Did we do the right thing taking her over to Easter Seals? We are going to look at this from a parent's perspective. When we get off track, it's up to all of us to pull us back on to remind me and whoever's talking that what's important is the experience that mom and dad are going to have and that little child are going to have. Because the better job we do in getting this preschool service pointed in the right direction, the fewer of those children we're going to see when they're 19 years old. Some we're going to see no matter what, but there's a good number that if we do our job from birth to 5, the next time we see them, they may be working for us, and that'd be great, rather than having to come to us to get service. So obviously I'm kind of passionate about that, and I'm anxious to get started. I know it'll be a free-for-all because we talked about competing interest earlier. There's going to be quite a bit of competing interest, but if we all stay focused on the child, the family, and their experience, I think we'll be good. So I think the next time we're in a big room like this, that's what we'll be talking about.